You wake up every day at the same time, have coffee, go to work, come back, watch the same things, sleep, repeat. And you think this routine is your choice. But what if I told you that every move you make, every thought you consider original, every desire that springs from your chest, all of this has been meticulously programmed by an invisible force that's been controlling you since before you were born? Émile Durkheim called this a social fact. I call it your perfect prison. Look, if you've made it this far, it's because something inside you already suspects there's something wrong with the world. And you're right. That's why before we continue this journey that could completely change how you see reality, subscribe to the channel. Because what I'm about to show you isn't conspiracy theory. It's pure sociology. It's the raw, naked truth about how society turned you into a puppet dancing without seeing the strings. Durkheim was the first to scientifically map this social matrix. He saw what nobody wanted to see, that you are not you. You're a product, a result. A perfectly fitted piece in a machine that started turning thousands of years before you existed. And the most terrifying part? You defend this prison. You love your chains. You're afraid to be free because you don't even know what freedom is anymore. You know that feeling of emptiness that follows you? That anguish that doesn't go away, even when you achieve everything society said would make you happy. It's your real self screaming beneath layers and layers of social programming. Durkheim identified 4 main forms of this invisible domination. 4 tentacles that embrace you so gently you mistake them for affection. 4 chains you kiss every morning, thinking they're jewels. The first form is the most subtle and therefore the most dangerous. It's social coercion disguised as normality. You don't even notice, but there's a constant force pushing you into a mold. When you were a child and questioned something obvious, remember how the adults looked at you? That look that said, "Don't ask that." That awkward silence. That nervous little laugh. It was society teaching you where the invisible walls of your cage are. Society sold you a beautiful lie and you bought it with your soul. The myth goes like this: you're free because you can choose. Choose your career. Choose your partner. Choose what to buy. Choose what to watch. Choose, choose, choose. But here's what they never told you. Every option on your menu was pre-selected by forces you can't see. You're like a rat in a maze, proud of choosing between left and right, never realizing both paths lead to the same cage. Durkheim saw through this illusion decades before social media, before algorithms, before the internet turned this manipulation into a science. He understood that society doesn't need chains or guards when it can colonize your mind. Think about it. Why do you want what you want? Why does success look the same for everyone? Big house, nice car, perfect family, Instagram, life. It's because society planted these desires in you so deep, you think they grew from your own heart. The collective consciousness, as Durkheim called it, is like an invisible ocean we're all swimming in. You can't see the water because you've never known air. Every value you hold sacred, every moral judgment you make, every dream you chase, it all comes from this ocean. You think you're swimming freestyle, but you're really just following the current. And the current always flows where society needs it to flow. Look at how you judge others. When someone breaks social rules, you feel it in your gut. That disgust, that anger, that need to correct them, where does it come from? It's not natural, it's programmed. Durkheim called this the collective effervescence, the shared emotional states that bind us together in our prison. When everyone's angry at the same thing, when everyone wants the same thing, when everyone fears the same thing, that's not coincidence. That's engineering. The school system, the media, your family, your friends, they're all unwitting agents of this programming. They teach you what's normal before you can even speak. They show you what's acceptable before you can think. By the Time you're old enough to question anything, the foundation is already set in concrete. Your personality, your desires, your fears, they're all built on ground that was prepared for you. You're living in a house you didn't design, thinking you're the architect. The most elegant prison is the one where inmates guard themselves. And that's exactly what Durkheim discovered about modern society. You're not just trapped. You're the guard, the warden, and the prisoner all at once. Every time you feel that twinge of guilt for not fitting in, every moment of shame for being different, every second of anxiety about breaking social rules, that's you rattling your own chains to make sure they're still secure. Durkheim called this anomie the terrifying moment when the social fabric tears and you glimpse the void beneath. It's that feeling when you lose your job and suddenly don't know who you are. When a relationship ends and your entire identity crumbles. When you move to a new city and feel like you're dissolving. That terror you feel, it's not losing yourself, it's realizing you were never solid to begin with. You were always just a collection of social roles held together by other people's expectations. The prison works through what Durkheim identified as social integration. You need to belong so desperately that you'll mutilate your own soul to fit in. Watch yourself at work tomorrow. Notice how you change your voice, your posture, your entire personality. Watch yourself with different groups of friends. You're not being fake. You're being exactly what you were trained to be, a social chameleon, whose true colors were erased so long ago you forgot they existed. But here's where it gets truly sinister. The prison convinces you that conformity is morality. When Durkheim studied suicide rates, he found something that should terrify you. People don't kill themselves just from too much social pressure. They also kill themselves from too little. Too much freedom is as deadly as too much control. Why? Because without society's invisible walls, you realize you don't know how to exist. You're like a domesticated animal released into the wild, dying of freedom. Social media hasn't created new chains, it's just made the old ones visible. Every like is a tiny dose of social approval. Every comment is a micro-adjustment to your behavior. Every post is you checking if you're still performing your role correctly. The algorithm doesn't control you. It reveals how you've always been controlled. It's a mirror showing you the puppet strings that were always there. And instead of cutting them, you're decorating them with filters and hashtags. Durkheim wasn't just another philosopher spinning theories in an ivory tower. He was a surgeon dissecting society's corpse and finding it was still breathing. In the division of labor in society, he revealed how modern life fractured us into specialized fragments, each person becoming just a function, a cog, a role. You're not a human being anymore. You're a job title, a relationship status, a demographic, a consumer profile, and you defend this dismemberment because you've been taught to call it identity. The sacred and profane, Durkheim's most profound insight, shows how society creates its own gods. But these aren't the old gods of thunder and harvest. These are the new gods of productivity, success, growth, progress. Every morning you perform rituals at the altar of capitalism. Your morning routine is a religious ceremony. Your workplace is a temple. Your paycheck is a communion wafer. And just like ancient priests, you never question why you're sacrificing your life to invisible forces that give nothing back but the promise of more sacrifice. In Suicide, a study in sociology, Durkheim proved something that should shake you to your core. Even the most intimate personal decision, the decision to end your own life, is socially determined. Your deepest despair, your most private pain, even these are shaped by invisible social forces. You don't even own your suffering. Society mass produces it, distributes it, manages it. The very thoughts you think in your darkest moments were manufactured in a social factory you can't see. But here's what Durkheim understood that modern gurus miss: mechanical solidarity versus organic solidarity. In primitive societies, people were controlled by sameness. Everyone believed the same, did the same, wanted the same. Modern society controls through difference. It makes you specialized, dependent, unable to survive without the system. You're free to be unique as long as your uniqueness serves the machine. You're free to be yourself as long as yourself is profitable. The collective representations, these shared symbols and meanings that Durkheim identified, they're not just ideas. They're the operating system of your mind. Every word you speak carries centuries of social programming. Every concept you use to understand yourself was forged in society's furnace. Even rebellion is scripted. Even resistance follows rules. The counterculture is just another culture. The alternative is just another native. You can't escape using tools the prison gave you. Right now, in this exact moment, you're feeling it. That uncomfortable tightness in your chest, that slight nausea. As everything you thought was, you begins to dissolve. This is your real self fighting against decades of programming. But watch what happens next. Your mind will start defending the prison. This is too extreme. Society isn't that bad. We need rules. This is just how things are. That voice? That's not you. That's your social programming protecting itself like an immune system attacking the cure. You want to know the fourth way society controls you? It's the most brilliant and cruel of all. It makes you police yourself through what Durkheim called social regulation. You've internalized the rules so deeply that breaking them physically hurts. Try it. Walk into an elevator and face the wrong way. Eat your dessert before dinner in a restaurant. Wear your clothes inside out to work. Feel that discomfort. That's not embarrassment. That's your conditioning shocking you back into line like an invisible electric fence. The tragedy is you've mistaken your cage for your identity. When someone attacks social norms, you feel personally threatened. When systems crumble, you panic. When authority weakens, you beg for stronger chains. You're suffering from what I call social Stockholm syndrome. You've fallen in love with your captor. You've merged so completely with society's expectations that you can't tell where they end and you begin. Actually, there is no you. There's only the you society allows to exist. Think about your dreams, not your sleeping dreams, your life dreams. Notice how they all fit perfectly into social templates? Even your fantasies follow the rules. You dream of winning the lottery, not of burning money. You dream of finding love, not of transcending the need for validation. You dream of success, not of redefining what success means. Your imagination itself has been colonized. You're free to dream any dream, as long as it's the approved dream. This is the vertigo Durkheim knew would come with awareness. Once you see the strings, you can't unsee them. Once you know you're performed, every gesture feels fake. Once you realize your thoughts aren't yours, thinking becomes agony. You're having an existential crisis? No, you're having an existential awakening. The crisis was your whole life before this moment. The crisis was thinking you were free while crawling on your knees. But here's what Durkheim knew that the cynics miss. Seeing the prison doesn't mean you have to die in it. Understanding social facts doesn't make you their slave. It makes you their student. Every great revolution started with someone who saw the invisible walls and decided to walk through them anyway. Yes, society shaped you. Yes, culture programmed you. Yes, the collective consciousness flows through your veins, but consciousness of consciousness is the beginning of freedom. The fourth way society controls you is through hope itself. It makes you believe change is impossible. It whispers that everyone who tried to break free either failed or became another tyrant. It shows you rebels who became brands, revolutionaries who became statues, free thinkers who became new orthodoxies. But Durkheim's gift wasn't despair, it was clarity. You can't fight an enemy you can't see, now you see it. Now you can choose what to do with that sight. This isn't about rejecting society. That's another trap, the trap of the false binary. This is about conscious participation. It's about knowing you're in a play, but choosing your role instead of sleepwalking through it. It's about understanding the rules so deeply that you know which ones to break and when. It's about using society's tools to carve out spaces of authentic existence. The master's tools can dismantle the master's house if you know where the load-bearing walls aren't. Look at you now, different from when you started watching. That discomfort you feel, that's your real self stretching after years of being cramped. That confusion, that's your mind processing thoughts that aren't pre-approved. That fear, that's the vertigo of actual choice. Durkheim gave us the map. Whether you use it to navigate the prison or escape it, that's the only real freedom you have. The freedom to choose your response to what you cannot change. If this burns something awake in you, don't let it go back to sleep. Share this video with someone still dreaming. Subscribe to this channel, not because I told you to, but because you're ready to keep questioning, because every notification can be another crack in the wall, another reminder that you're not alone. In seeing the strings, the revolution isn't out there, it's in here, in the space between who society made you and who you choose to become. That space, that's where you actually exist. That's where you've always existed. You just needed someone to remind you to look,